Hi guys, welcome to the game room tour. As you can see right here, we have Assassin's Creed posters. We have the Assassin's Creed collector's editions. So we have the first one, second one, Brotherhood, 3, Bloodlines with the PSP system, Black Flag, Liberation with the PS Vita system. And then over on this shelf here we have Assassin's Creed Unity. We have a boxed goodie bag with a vinyl bust, a squishy Apple of Eden, a glow-in-the-dark mug, a bandana, and some other things. We have the encyclopedias for Assassin's Creed, all 3 versions. We have fig pins. I am missing some. We have these little figurines. And then we have a boxed Hidden Blade from Valhalla. We have a sealed Orlog game. And then down here, as you may be able to see, we have the art books for Assassin's Creed, as well as the novels, and all the novels are over there, but these are comics in hardbound form. So we have a bunch of those. This is an Assassin's Creed Arena board game, still sealed. So this is the first Assassin's Creed shelf. We have a brand new pop that came out a few months ago. It's number 901, Altair. We have the Odyssey Spear, the Leonidas Spear, sealed. We have the Origins Collector's Edition, the recent Assassin's Creed fig pin releases. They came in a box set. This is a brand new. This is a Nintendo original NES in the box. We have the Odyssey Collector's Edition. We have a Valhalla Eivor figurine. We have the Valhalla Collector's Edition, and then we have the mug from Valhalla with my name on the bottom. And this here is a little mask that they gave out during COVID. If you worked at GameStop, it's a Valhalla mask for COVID. So now here we have every Assassin's Creed game that ever came out, and we have multiple versions of the same because there are multiple iterations, if you will. So for example, this first Assassin's Creed game, you have the regular version, right, which is here. But to give you an idea, we also have the Best Buy exclusive with a mini strategy guide inside. So there's that. We have the greatest hits. We have the DS game, Assassin's Creed Altair Chronicles, Bloodlines, Lineage, which is the movie before the second game, preludes into the second game. And then we have Assassin's Creed 2, which was the debut of Ezio. Assassin's Creed 2 Discovery with Ezio as well. And then for the DS, and then Brotherhood, the Platinum Hits version of Brotherhood, Revelations, Platinum Hits version. Well, there are 2 versions, it seems. This is the limited, the signature edition of Revelations. And then we have the Platinum Hits. We have the Ezio Trilogy for both the 3 and PS4, and the Ezio Collection, or excuse me, the Ezio Trilogy for the PS3, but then the Ezio Collection for both the PS4 and the Switch. This is the Assassin's Creed 3 Steelbook. And then we have Assassin's Creed 3. We have 2 versions, it seems. We have the regular one and then the GameStop edition. We have Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered for the PS4. Black Flag for the PS4. The America Collection PS3, Rogue, the Rebel Collection for the Switch, a couple versions of Unity for the PS4. You have the regular version, and then you have the limited edition, and then the PS4 version, the Walmart edition. You should be able to see, I think. Then, Syndicate, the Gold Edition, Chronicles for both the PS4 and the Vita, the movie full-length feature film that came out in the theaters, Origins, the Origins Gold Edition, Odyssey, the Odyssey Gold Edition, the Valhalla for the PS4 Gold Edition, and Valhalla, the Ultimate Edition Steelbook. And then down here we have the novelizations of all of the games. Oliver Bowden wrote the first 9 of them, and then Gordon Doherty wrote Odyssey. Then we have a novel that took place before Valhalla, the event, Gehrman's Saga, by Matt J. Kirby. Now, Matt J. Kirby wrote these 3 books here, the Last Descendant series, about some teenagers that got caught up in the Assassin and Templar War. And then you have a couple of novels by Yan Leixing, who wrote about Xiao Jun, who was the Chinese assassin who met Ezio at the end of his life. Another Valhalla prequel, Blood Brothers, a little comic, if you will, manga, if you will, actually. Then we have a couple of Valhalla books, little, tidbits here and there, little stories, if you will. Hearsay, and by Christy Golden, is an Assassin's Creed standalone novel, and then she novelized the movie as well. And then we have Kate Hartsfeld. Now, Kate Hartsfeld wrote The Magus Conspiracy. We have another Valhalla book, Sword of the White Horse. And then we have some more manga of Xiao Jun and some comics as well. And then down here we have all of the pops. I have every one that ever came out. So I'll do my best to have you guys see these. We have these down here. You should be able to see them. This is another fig pin, the Fig Pin Ultra. And then down here we have these. So there you go. Okay. Up here we have some Assassin's Creed posters, Valhalla poster. I think this is Unity, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Unity. And then over here, we have some God of War. Here we have the games I'm selling, but let me move this chair over so you guys can have a seat with me and see what we have to see. So, we have the God of War PS4 Stonemason Edition. This is the first game, the Collector's Edition. We have the PS4 Pro Limited Edition God of War system. Leviathan Grey has the controller. Every God of War game. So we have God of War for the PS1, God of War 2 for the God of War 1 and 2 for the PS2. God of War Chains of Olympus for the PSP, the collection for both the PS3, God of War 3 for the PS3, and God of War 4 remastered, God of War 3 remastered for the PS4. God of War Ghosts of Sparta, Origins Collection, Saga, Ascension, the PS Vita version of the God of War collection, and then obviously God of War and God of War Ragnarok. These are Totaku figurines, company that made little miniatures, if you will, of some of gaming's most popular protagonists or enemies or whatever. We have all the God of War fig pins, and I think I might be missing one. I'm not positive. We have the God of War 3 Ultimate Edition for the PS3, and then we have both PSP systems. We have the God of War Ghost of Sparta system, and then the God of War Chains of Olympus system as well. And then down here, you should be able to see, we have the God of War Ascension Collector's Edition, the God of War Ascension Legacy Bundle with a red PS3, and then over here we have these rubber duckies. They're called Tubbs, T-U-B-B-Z, and we have Atreus and Kratos from God of War Tubbs. We have some Assassin's Creed hats. We have some figurines from Assassin's Creed. And then right over here we have the God of War Ragnarok Jotnar Edition PS5 Collector's Edition. And then little goodies that little lanyards that the manager of GameStop gave me because I do a lot of business there. God of War Ragnarok controller, the God of War Ragnarok PS5 bundle, And then we have novelizations of the first couple God of War games written by Robert Vardman and Matt Stover. They did the first one. It looks like Robert Vardman did the second one. Then we have the novelization of the first God of War game. The Art of God of War. These are some comics as well. I think I pulled that out in the correct order. And let's move this chair over here. And right here we have some art books, God of War. This is a children's book. It's geared at children, called God of War B is for Boy. And I think this only came out in Canada, which is interesting. It did not get a US release. I think it was shipped from Canada, but there's that. We have the God of War card game, which is completely sealed. And we have these things called Pixel Pals. They're basically like a pop, but not. They light up, and they're just like pixel art is basically what they are. Sort of like you might have made these things way back. Like I know in the 90s I made them. You could make decorations like these with little pieces of rubber. I don't know if they're rubber per se, but whatever they were, beads, little rubber beads, and you can make things like this. So I have some Mortal Kombat ones of these, and I think some Kingdom Hearts, and you'll see as we go. Now down here, let's move the chair, and let's get down here so you guys can see everything. Okay. Here we have the God of War Pops. So it starts up here. We have 3 Kratoses. Black Kratos right there was the rarest of the 3. Blue is the second rarest. And then we have the rest. We have the 2-packs. We have both Atreus and Kratos and Brock and Sindri. And then down here we have the Soul Calibur games. So obviously we start out with Soul Blade for the PS1, and then Soul Calibur for the Dreamcast. And then we have the 3 versions of Soul Calibur 2, because each version, for each system, PS2, Xbox, and GameCube, they all came with an exclusive character. Soul Calibur 3 for the PS2, Soul Calibur Legends for the Wii, and then both versions of Soul Calibur 4 for the PS3 and 360, because the 360 came with Yoda, and the PS3 version came with, what do you call it, Darth Vader. We have the Soul Calibur 4 Collector's Edition for the PS3, Soul Calibur 4 Tekken 6 Dual Pack, the Soul Calibur Broken Destiny game for the PSP, Soul Calibur 5, Soul Calibur 5 Collector's Edition for the PS3, and Soul Calibur 6, both the regular edition and a sealed copy of the deluxe edition. And then we have Mitsurugi, the only Totaku Soul Calibur character. You've got a couple of Soul Calibur fig pins. I am missing, I think, a few. And then we go all the way up here. We have the Soul Calibur 6 Collector's Edition. We have the Tekken 3. This is sealed from Epic and MGA, a Virtua Fighter. It's basically like a, how you would call it, I want to say like a Gigapet. It's 4 game modes, including Tekken Ball. You can fight 16 people, 20 attack combinations. So you got that. Then up here you have PS1 system, complete obviously. Parappa the Rapper's up there. Then we have the Tekken series. So we have both versions of Tekken for the PS1. We have the long box version, and then we have the regular jewel case version. Tekken 2, Tekken 3, Tekken Tag Tournament, Tekken 4, Tekken Advance. This here, Death by Degrees. Tekken Advance, by the way, is sealed, and it's for the Game Boy Advance. But Death by Degrees was a game, standalone games featuring Nina Williams. It was an adventure game, sort of like a hack and slash, Siphon Filter type of game, and it was hard as hell. It was very hard. I did not beat it. Tekken 5. Then we have the Tekken 5 Ultimate Collector's Edition, which includes the game, the special edition arcade stick, and then a collector's DVD case. And this is the collector's DVD case. So if we pull this out and we open it up, it has the art for every game, and then obviously in each sleeve there is the game itself. So Tekken, Tekken 2, Tekken 3, Tekken 4, Tekken Tag Tournament, and then Tekken 5 is right over here. There it is. So let's put this back together. And in it goes. Okay. I might just do this. Alright. Then we have Tekken Dark Resurrection for the PSP, Tekken 6, both regular and Greatest Hits versions, and then Tekken 6 for the PSP as well. And then we have the limited edition Tekken 6. We have a sealed standalone version of Tekken Hybrid, but we also have the limited edition Tekken Hybrid, which came with the 80-page art book, 2-disc soundtrack, DLC voucher, Tekken Hybrid game, and the movie Tekken Blood Vengeance. So that was a limited edition for Tekken Hybrid. And then we have Tekken Tag Tournament 2, Tekken Tag Tournament 2, the Wii U edition. We have Tekken 3D for the 3DS, Street Fighter X Tekken, Street Fighter X Tekken Collector's Edition, or Special Edition. And then we have two tubs. We have Kazuya and Heihachi. And then here, let's get the chair. Let's bring it over. We have the Tekken 7 games. We also have Street Fighter X Tekken for the PS Vita. But we have Tekken 7. So we have two versions. We have the regular and then the Day 1 edition. And then Tekken 7 Collector's Edition. And some of the Tekken 7 fig pins, I still think I'm missing a few. I'll have to double check. Now, we have all of the Tekken Pops. And I attempted to film this game room tour last week, and I noticed that Armor King number 202, if I get down, which I will right now, this Armor King and this Armor King look exactly alike. And I don't know what the difference is. And very rarely would I buy a duplicate. Unless one's blue, one's not. That's exactly what it is. Okay, I figured it out. So his armor here, I don't know if you can see with the lighting, but his armor is grayish black. And here, his armor is blue. You can see hints of blue. So that is the difference. That makes sense now. And then we only have two Totaku figurines for Tekken 7. It's the only ones that came out. I shouldn't even say Tekken 7, I just think Tekken in general. But you have Heihachi and Jin. Okay. So we have all of the Tekken Pops. Alright, now, let's get back up. And right up here, we have the Special Edition South Park goodies. We have the Stick of Truth. We have the Coonmobile from the Fractured But Whole. PS2 in the box, PS3 in the box, PS4 Pro, PS5, gaming headset, VR, VR2, Streets of Rage, pixel art, Streets of Rage 4 Collector's Edition, some coasters that have the PS buttons on them, some stickers from The World Ends With You, some little tchotchkes here, some PlayStation little keychains with all the systems. This is the PS1 collection, and I still have to collect more. I'm collecting, when I sold all of my games 3 years ago, I decided when I would start collecting again that I would only collect compilation discs and rhythm-based games, puzzle games, that sort of thing. So that's why here you might be wondering, why on earth is that your whole PS1 collection? And it is non-sports related or non-series related. I have other games, which I'll show you, but for the miscellaneous style games, this is what we have. PS2, now this I have throughout my college years buying games for PS2, so this was my original collection. We have every Jam Pack game, or every Jam Pack compilation, I should say. This is interesting. This here, you see Major League Baseball 2K5. Well, they released an updated version. I mean, that was before the days of downloading updates. So they released an updated version. It is still sealed, but it's the World Series edition. They have the Mega Man collections, Metal Slug collection, the Midway Arcade Treasures, MVP Baseball, Namco Museums, some of the hockey, 2K hockey games, Pinball Hall of Fame, Rygar, Samurai Showdown, The Shield, which was based on the Michael Chiklis TV show, all of the poker games for the PS2. And then our PS3 collection starts here. We have Dante's Inferno, Falling Skies. That was based on the TV show of the same name. We moved the chair over. Falling Skies was a Steven Spielberg show on Sci-Fi. And they made a video game after the show with all the characters, but it's a turn-based, it's not even turn-based, it's a tactical RPG, which is not my forte, so I haven't even opened it. The Ghostbusters game, a video game. And that Ghostbusters game, as we all know, if you're a Ghostbusters fan, pretty much acted as Ghostbusters 3, the movie we never got, and then Harold Ramis died after that, so. We have L.A. Noire, we have Atari Classics. Now we're getting to the PS4 games. We have the Atari Classics and Flashback collections, Blair Witch, Cobra Kai, Castlevania, Contra, Dark Souls trilogy. We have the 2 and 3 pack of the Disney games, Elder Scrolls, Dragon's Lair trilogy, the new Ghostbusters games that released. One was based on the women's game. This one was Spirits Unleashed, is sort of a prequel, a sequel slash prequel to the next movie. Sequel after the first movie that just released, the newest one. We have the House of the Dead remake, PS4 version of L.A. Noire, Mega Man collections, Metal Slug Again collection, Paranormal Activity, this is a VR game. Poker, Power Rangers, another poker game, Secret of Mana, the South Park games, Turtles Cowabunga edition, again, I don't know if you can see based on the lighting. And then some PS5 games. We have Cobra Kai 2, Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed, Godfall, which was, it had all the makings of a great game. It was just horrible. Graphically, it was beautiful. One of the prettiest games I've ever seen in my life from a graphics perspective. Immortals Phoenix Rising. I really hope Ubisoft makes a sequel. The game was incredible. I loved it. It was a breath of fresh air from the normal Assassin's Creed, jargon that they shove down our throats. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan, as you guys saw, but this was a refreshing game. And then we have some Wii games. We have American Men's Academy. This game, American Men's Academy, is worth like $150, $200. Dragon's Lair trilogy for the Wii. We have the arcade classics from Data East, Kirby Special Collection, Kirby's Dream Collection, some pinball games, the Super Mario All-Stars Limited Edition, and then we go into the series now. Now we have Dead or Alive. And if you were a teenage boy in the late 90s, okay, we're talking 96 to 98, when you saw Dead or Alive in the arcade, you instantly got turned on. You had to have. Because Dead or Alive, from Tecmo, featured realistic women with gigantic breasts bouncing up and down every move they made, they would just, almost like a cartoon, they would bounce up and down, up and down. And you were hooked. And separate from the shenanigans of the bouncing breasts, there was a pretty good fighter hidden within. And so we have Dead or Alive for the PS1, Dead or Alive 2 for the Dreamcast. Then they updated the release and put it on the PS2, called it DOA 2 Hardcore. Dead or Alive 3 for the Xbox. It was an Xbox exclusive, I believe. No, maybe not. Could have sworn it was. Then we have Dead or Alive Volleyball. This was the Xbox exclusive. Dead or Alive Volleyball. Dead or Alive Ultimate, which remade both the first and second game. Dead or Alive 4. Dead or Alive 4 Greatest Hits Edition. Dead or Alive Extreme Volleyball 2. Then they made a Dead or Alive movie with Jamie Priestley in it. Dead or Alive Dimensions for the 3DS. Dead or Alive Paradise for the PSP. Then Dead or Alive 5. There were a bunch of versions of this game. We had the regular version, the collector's edition in a steel tin. Dead or Alive 5 for the Vita. Then for the PS3, they remade it into Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate. For the PS4, they remade it into Dead or Alive 5 Last Round. And then Dead or Alive 6 is the latest release. And from what I remember, Dead or Alive 6, to me, was a big disappointment. It was a big disappointment. It was lazily put together. They still had Japanese voices. Half the text wasn't read correctly. There was no excuse. It's almost like, I don't think there was any English speaking, and if there was, it was one or two characters. That was it. So, then we have the medieval games, which very underrated games, and I'm happy that it did get a remake on the PS4. So we have the first two, the PS1, and we have Medieval Resurrection, which was a port of the first game to the PSP. And here is Sir Daniel Fortescue, limited GameStop exclusive as a pop. So we have him. Then we have the Parappa games. We have Parappa the Rapper. We have Parappa the Rapper 2 for the PS2. Parappa the Rapper for the PSP. And then a sequel to Parappa was an unofficial sequel. It's called Jammer Lammy. So we have that. And then they remade for the PS4 the first Parappa game, but interestingly, this only came out in Korea, I believe. Only in Korea, or Hong Kong, or something. It was not released here in the United States. It's very strange that that was the case. Printed in Hong Kong, game disc made in Japan. Yeah, but it's the American version of the game, which is pretty cool. Alright, now we have Prince of Persia. We have pretty much every game ever came out for the Prince of Persia series. So we have Prince of Persia for the NES. We have the Prince of Persia port for the Game Boy. It's a little crunched here, which isn't good. Let me get down. Let me move this chair back. Alright, and then down here, Prince of Persia for the Game Boy Color, Prince of Persia for the Super Nintendo, Prince of Persia for the Genesis, Prince of Persia for the Sega CD, and then the official sequel, Prince of Persia 2, only came out for the Super Nintendo. So, if you did not have a Super Nintendo, you could not play the sequel. It's called Prince of Persia 2, The Shadow and the Flame. And here, we have Prince of Persia Arabian Nights for the Dreamcast. Now this game, Prince of Persia Arabian Nights, was actually released first for the computer, for the PC. And this game was called Prince of Persia 3D, and I remember buying it and doing pretty well on the PC. And then the game froze, the game glitched. I was on a snow level and I could not get past anything. I couldn't move anywhere, just no matter what I did, it would not work. So, interesting tidbit there. Then we have the trilogy of all trilogies. The Ubisoft-made trilogies, starting with the Sands of Time, which took what Prince of Persia 3D/Arabian Nights tried to do and just made it 8 million times better. You could freeze time in the game, you could rewind time. It was a pretty cool mechanic. and a great game. And they ported it to the Game Boy Advance. And then the sequel was called Prince of Persia Warrior Within. That was the darkest of the three, and my favorite of the three. And they ported that version to the PSP, calling it Prince of Persia Revelations, which you can see right there. And then the last game in the trilogy, Prince of Persia The Two Thrones, was also ported to the PSP, calling itself Rival Swords, which also again then got ported to the Wii. Then there was a tactical-based RPG called Battles of Prince of Persia Trilogy, which was remastered for the PS3. And then Ubisoft took Prince of Persia in a different direction. They made a game just called Prince of Persia. The art style was different, the gameplay was different, had nothing to do with the previous three games. And some would say it's not even really a Prince of Persia game. There's no reason for it to be called Prince of Persia. And some may be correct when they say that. Nonetheless, I still love the game. The graphics were incredible. I have the limited edition of the game as well, as you can see. Then they made a Nintendo DS game, which was sort of like a mini sequel to the 360 PS3 game, called The Fallen King, which is right here. And then we have Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands. It was also released on the PSP and the Nintendo DS and the Wii. Now, The Forgotten Sands, Ubisoft went back to its bread and butter. It went back to the style and the same prince of the first three games. We have the Prince of Persia graphic novel, Before the Sandstorm. We have Prince of Persia the movie with Jake Gyllenhaal right here. And this book, The Making of Prince of Persia, journals 1985 to 1993, these are Jordan Mechner's journal writings at the time when he was making the game. And it shows the stress he was under, it shows who he met with, it shows, you know, the step-by-step really iteration of how Prince of Persia was made. And it's a pretty interesting read. It's a pretty cool deal. Shaq Fu. We know what Shaq Fu's about. We have the sequels, Legend Reborn, both for the PS4 and the Switch. So now, let's get up and let us go to here. Here we have Shenmue, one of my favorite game series of all time. Shenmue, and then as well we have the limited edition, which includes an original soundtrack by Yu Suzuki. Shenmue 2, which was an Xbox exclusive, which also included the DVD Shenmue the Movie, which was basically a recap of the first game. We have Shenmue 1 and 2 remastered for the PS4, with a double-sided poster apparently. And then we have the Shenmue 3. That was a Kickstarter. I bought it. I bought the special edition, as you can see right here, the complete edition off Limited Run Games, but I originally backed the project and just got the regular version with a little bunch of trinkets. And unfortunately, Shenmue 3 does not finish the story, and I read in the publication that Yu Suzuki believes there probably will be 7 chapters of the story, and we've only gone through 3, but the problem is, Shenmue came out around 2000. Shenmue 3 was released 20 years later, 21 years later, 20 years later. So, and it had to get kickstarted. And it was successful, don't get me wrong, but the odds of us ever getting the 4th through 7th games are slim, because even if it was funded by some billionaire who wanted to see it come to fruition, Yu Suzuki is in his 60s, so, and if he's not in his 60s, it's close. This is a Tubbs Ryu Hazuki tub for Shenmue. We have the Streets of Rage series, the Genesis game, the Game Gear port. Then we have the one of the versions of the Tiger Electronics Streets of Rage game. This is sealed. It's a Pocket Arcade, but they also have a regular Tiger Electronic game that is almost impossible to find. So I'm still actively searching. Streets of Rage 2 for the Genesis and the Game Gear port, Streets of Rage 3 for the Genesis, and then Streets of Rage 4 for both the PS4 and the Switch. And we're going to go down here. We have ToeJam and Earl. ToeJam and Earl Famicom Funkatron. The Xbox exclusive ToeJam and Earl 3. And then ToeJam and Earl Back in the Groove. This is ToeJam and Earl 4. And I have to get the PS4 version. I have to remember myself to get that. And we have the Virtua Fighter series, one of my favorite fighting games of all time. Not the favorite, but up there. Virtua Fighter for the Saturn. Virtua Fighter for the 32X. We have both versions of the Tiger Electronic game. We have a sealed copy of the Pocket Arcade and the Virtua Fighter handheld as well. Virtua Fighter Remix, which was the Virtua Fighter 1 released again without the bugs. Virtua Fighter Remix. This is a rare version. The long box version is extremely rare to find. The jewel case version is the normal version that came out. Virtua Fighter 2 for the Saturn, Virtua Fighter 2 for the Genesis, Virtua Fighter 2 for the Tiger R-Zone, Virtua Fighter Animation for the Game Gear, still sealed, Virtua Fighter Kids, Virtua Fighter 3 for the Dreamcast, Virtua Fighter 4 for the PS2, and Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution. Now the interesting thing about this game is this is a updated version, but it only came out in the Greatest Hits label. It did not come out in a black label, which is interesting. We have Virtua Quest, which was sort of like a Death by Degrees Tekken game in the Virtua Fighter series, in the sense of it was a standalone game that took place in the Virtua Fighter universe. Then we had Virtua Fighter 5 for the PS3, and then Microsoft got the updated version for the Xbox 360, Virtua Fighter 5 Online. We have all of the Yakuzas. I'm missing a few, but we have the first two. Then we have Kiwami, which is a remake of 1. We have Yakuza Kiwami 2, which is a remake of Yakuza 2. 3, 4, Dead Souls Remastered Collection. Yakuza 0, Yakuza the Song of Life, this is Yakuza 5, and then Yakuza Like a Dragon. These are my Xbox and Xbox 360 games. Xbox, really not a bunch. We have Tecmo Classic Arcade, that was a Microsoft's exclusive. We have the Xbox demo discs, all 7 of them. And then for the 360, All Pro Football 2K8. The Burger King games, we have Big Bumpin', we have Sneak King, and then we have Pocket Bike Racers right here. I think one of them. There it is, Pocket Bike Racer. Bully, which I have for the PS2, obviously, right up there. Capcom Digital Collection, College Hoops, Dreamcast Collection, Konami Classics Volumes 1 and 2. And then the games up here, we have PopCap Hits, Namco Museum Virtual Arcade, Simpsons game, Table Tennis, and then we have the Xbox One game, Rare Replay, which has 30 games on one disc. And why I bought this was to play Banjo and Kazooie, really. Killer Instinct Gold would be cool, RC Pro-Am for the Nintendo, RC Pro-Am 2, yeah, so that's that. Now right over here, as you can see, we have the Xbox 360, and then here we have the Xbox One Project Scorpio Edition. That was the code name of the newest Xbox system before they changed it from Project Scorpio to just Xbox One. Here we have a poster of every game cartridge for every system. This is my gaming setup. PS5, PS4. This is a hard drive to store more PS5 stuff. This is a Raspberry Pi system. Got some Tetris handheld. Right here we have all of the magazine, Game Informer magazines, as much as these are back from like the 90s, mid-90s, some of them. And then years and years and years of collecting the magazines, so with the subscription again to Game Informer. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go right over here, and as you can see, we have Kingdom Hearts stuff. So we have the Kingdom Hearts 3, Maleficent, GameStop exclusive. I believe this opens up and you can see inside. Diorama, if you will. There you go. And we have the Mickey and Donald statue. Kingdom Hearts 2.5 Collector's Edition. Oopsie, I don't want that to fall. We have the vignettes, all of them, the Vinny Mates, excuse me. We have all of these. We have a Walmart exclusive here. Then we have all the Kingdom Hearts games. We have Kingdom Hearts for the PS2, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories for the Game Boy Advance, Kingdom Hearts 2 for the PS2, Kingdom Hearts port from the Game Boy Advance to the PS2, Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. This version has the slipcover. So there were two versions, the regular version and then one that came with a slipcover, so I grabbed that one. Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep for the PSP, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep with a slipcover as well. Didn't have one. Kingdom Hearts Coded, which was a port of a cell phone game that only came out in Japan, and they ported the game to the Nintendo DS for us here in America. Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance and the Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance Mark of Mastery Edition. Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 Remix, Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 Remix, limited edition or collector's edition with a steel book inside, or a art book inside. Kingdom Hearts HD 2.5 Remix, which is what that is, but the regular version. Then they came out with a Kingdom Hearts HD 2.5 Remix limited edition. For the PS4, they reported it again into one giant game, Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 and 2.5, and it came with a limited edition. Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, and then the limited edition, and then Kingdom Hearts The Story So Far, which basically has every game and everything ever in one disc. So Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days, HD Remastered Cinematics, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. The Final Mix versions were only released in Japan, never here in the US. First time those were released in the US. Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Final Mix, Kingdom Hearts Coded with updated HD Remastered Cinematics, Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance HD, and Kingdom Hearts Key back cover, which was the movie prequel to 3. So we have the Kingdom Hearts 3 with the lenticular cover, Kingdom Hearts 3 Deluxe Edition, Kingdom Hearts All-in-One Package, Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory for both the PS4 and the Switch. And we have more of the Vinimates, and then we have updated Vinimates for Kingdom Hearts 3. There were 3 of them. And then every Kingdom Hearts pop that there is. So we have these. We have these. We have these. And at the bottom here, we have these. A lot of exclusives. Hot Topic, Box Lunch exclusive, Target exclusive, Comic-Con's exclusive, another Box Lunch, Comic-Con, Fall Conventions, Toys R Us, Hot Topic. And then here we have more pops. There were a lot of them. This was a Funko Insider Club exclusive, E3 exclusive. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we have the Pixel Pals. This is a giant book of every game in the Kingdom Hearts series and every line of dialogue, pretty much. For the main story, not for the side missions. Here, we have more Pixel Pals, we have more Pops. Funko, I should say. Not Pops per se, but Funkos. We have every Kingdom Hearts fig pin there is. These just got released this year. We have the bigger Funko Pops. This here is a card game. Then we have the 2-packs. We have the Kingdom Hearts Ultimania, which is the story before Kingdom Hearts 3. The character files to get you up to date with every Kingdom Hearts character. We have the Ultimate Handbook from Scholastic. And then down here we have some mugs, but most importantly, we have the Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep PSP bundle. Came with the system and the game and a Sony Music Pass at the time. So there's that. Alright. Now, here we have some art done by one of my coworkers. Spyro, Super Mario 1, Super Mario World. We have a bunch of books, as you all know. There are some video games mixed in. For example, there are some Hardy Boy video games here. There are 2 of them. There are some Nancy Drew video games. There were 4 DS games. There was 1 for the Game Boy Advance and then 1 for the Wii. So we have all those. Left Behind, these were computer games from the Left Behind series. And then we have the Harry Potter games, which are all the way down here. As you can see, movies and games, which leads us all the way into these, every single one. Even the Lego Harry Potter games, even the Wonder Books, even the interactive DVD game that came out. And that's pretty much it. We do have a John Saul Blackstone Chronicles computer game. We have some Goosebumps video games, like down here for the PlayStation 2 and the Wii and the DS and the 3DS and the Switch. And then we're going to go right back over here. And as you can see right over here, we have the Harry Potter stuff, some pops, but we have the Hogwarts Collector's Edition. This toy lights up to wand, just like that. Apparently it doesn't want to shut off. It's interesting. Okay. We have a lot of Tiger Electronic Harry Potter games. We have the 2 Game & Watch games that came out, Zelda and Super Mario Brothers. A little My Arcade Pocket Player Bases Loaded sports titles. On here we have the mini systems, NES Classic Edition, Super NES, Sega Genesis, Genesis 2, TurboGrafx, Neo Geo, PS1. And then we also have a Micro Arcade Bad Dudes game. Here we have the 1-ups, the arcade 1-ups. So we have Super Marvel Super Heroes, we have NBA Jam, we have NFL Blitz, excuse me. And then right over here we have Outrun. Over here we have The Simpsons, Star Wars, and Turtles. Over here we have, and it's again all the Goosebumps stuff you saw in that video that I made. We have sports stuff here. So we got some computer games. This game here, High Heat Baseball 2002, I've mentioned it before. This is the best baseball game I've ever played in my life. Games lasted 35 to 40 minutes, and they were so fun. They were so fun to play. So, if you can get yourself a copy of this game for the computer, not so much the PS2, but for the computer, incredible. This isn't video game related, but it is my sports memorabilia wall or bookshelf. Every championship DVD, some books that were written, like this Belichick autobiography by Ian O'Connor, or biography I should say. Some pops for the Bruins, Celtics, and Red Sox. And then here we have the MLB The Show Collector's Editions. They did not make one in 2022, which was interesting. But here we go, back again 2023. NBA 2K13 for the PS3, that collector's edition. We got the Maddens. We got not only John Madden Football 93, but we have one of the rarest games you can find complete. John Madden Football Championship Edition. This was a rental exclusive, and this was only in Blockbusters. But I have the manual and the cart. Madden 95 for the Game Boy, and all the Maddens, all the way up to, we have the Collector's Edition Madden 10. We even have the En Español versions for the 360. I am missing the Madden for the Wii, the pink box edition, or the 360, excuse me. We do have the Madden All 9 All Play version for the Wii, but I am missing the pink lenticular cover. But yeah, all the way up to Madden 22, and Madden 23 is still over there. Then we have the Sony baseball games, starting out on the PS1 called MLB Pennant Race, all the way up to MLB 2006. And then 2007's version was created, MLB 06 The Show. And that's when the show started, right here. So it went Pennant Race, and then from 98 to 2006 it was called MLB, and then they added the show to the title, and as you can see, we have everything all the way up to 2023 now. I do have the MVP edition. I'm going to add that to my list. Down here we have the NBA 2K series, starting out on the Dreamcast, and obviously all the way to now, which I'm playing NBA 2K23 as we speak. Then we have the games that came out before the NBA Live series. We had the Lakers and Celtics from EA, Bulls versus Lakers, and Bulls versus Blazers. Then the titles switched to NBA Showdown for 1 year, and then it was renamed NBA Live, and I have that all the way up to 07. That's when I started playing the 2K series. Exclusively was 2008. And then we have the NHL series from EA. So we have all of these. We have the Stanley Cup edition, NHL 13, and then all the way to 23. This is my Tiger Electronics and miscellaneous wall of sports. These are games that came out from Tiger that are sealed. We have many variations of games. This baseball game and football game are pretty much iterations of some of the stuff you're going to see down here. But we have Konami, sealed football and baseball. Madden 95, we have the 3D versions. We have a Power Rangers watch and a Turtles game watch. This is Radio Shack. This is my first ever video game of all time, was Space Alien. This was my first video game ever. My sister got this game, Highway. And it wasn't even this version. It was this version, a little plasticky version. So we have those versions. Okay, we have more Radio Shack stuff here. And then here we have more Tiger games. So we have all sports. Try to collect every iteration of any of the major 4 sports: basketball, baseball, hockey, football. And here's what we got. The only one I don't have and I haven't bought is Space Jam. Or it's not Space Jam, it's or maybe it is. No, I forget. I think it might be Space Jam, because it really isn't, you know, it's its own universe type of a thing. And down here we have NBA Live, we have Deion Sanders football pocket version. This is the NFL Blitz clamshell game that opens up like so. And then down here we have the Konami handhelds, and we have all of the Turtles. Even though these aren't sports games, these 3, they're still must-haves for any collection. And then over here we have some books. We have the video game books, encyclopedias for Super Mario Brothers, and that kind of a thing. We have the Wii. We have a boxed Switch, Switch Lite, OLED Switch, and Ring Fit Adventures. Alright, now this is the Jeopardy, Tetris, Chess, and Wheel of Fortune bookshelf. We have pretty much every Jeopardy, Tetris, Chess, and Wheel of Fortune game that has ever come out for any home console. I am missing a few Jeopardy games for the original Game Boy, but other than that, this is pretty much a complete collection. So we have titles like Battle Chess for both the NES and the 3DO system, Panasonic 3DO. Chess for the PS1, Chess Master for the Game Boy, Chess Master for the PS2, Chess Master for the Xbox, Chess Master 2 for the PS1, Chess Master The Art of Learning for both the DS and the PSP, Chess Ultra for the Switch, it's a downloadable game, Fritz Chess, both for the DS and the Wii. The Wii version is very rare. Learn Chess for the DS, Online Chess Kingdoms for the PSP, Pure Chess for the PS4, Sargon Chess for the CDI, Compact Disc Interactive System, the Software Toolworks Star Wars Chess for the Sega CD, Chess Master, the Chess Master for the NES, the Chess Master for the Game Boy, the Chess Master for both the Game Gear, the Super Nintendo, the Chess Master 3D for the PS1, the new Chess Master for the Game Boy, Ultimate Chess Challenge for the Atari Lynx, Virtual Chess 64, Virtual Kasparov, both for the Game Boy Advance and PS1. And then we start with Jeopardy. We have both the original Jeopardy, Jeopardy 25th Anniversary Edition. So we have Super Jeopardy, Jeopardy Junior Edition, Jeopardy for the Game Boy, Game Gear, the Game Com, Jeopardy for the Super Nintendo, or the Genesis, Jeopardy for the Super Nintendo, Jeopardy for the Sega CD, Jeopardy Deluxe Edition for both the Genesis and Super Nintendo. We have Jeopardy Sports Edition. This is a Jeopardy Tiger game. Jeopardy Sports Edition for the Game Boy. Speaking of which, if I have this for the Game Boy, I need to make sure I have that in my collection notes. Jeopardy Sports Edition for both the Genesis and Super Nintendo. We have Jeopardy for the PS1, Jeopardy for the 64, Jeopardy 2nd Edition for the PS1, Jeopardy for the PS2, the DS, the PS3, the 360, the Wii, the Wii U, and then we have Tetris for the original NES. We have Tetris for the Game Boy. Now this is rare to find complete because remember, Tetris came with this system, the original Game Boy. It came with the system, but it only came in game pack form. It did not come in a box. So there's that. And then we have Tetris for the CDI. Compact Disc Interactive. That's what it looked like right here. Okay. We have the unofficial release from Tengen Tetris. Tengen Tetris, which people say is the definitive version of Tetris. It is the best version that came out for a home console of all time, back in those days. Tetris and Dr. Mario, we have the Super Nintendo 2-pack, Tetris 2 for both the Nintendo, Game Boy, and Super Nintendo. We have the 3D Tetris game, and then the V Tetris game that only came out in Japan for the Virtual Boy. We have Tetris Attack for both the Game Boy and Super Nintendo. We have Tetris Blast for the Game Boy, Tetris Plus for the Game Boy, Tetris DX for the Game Boy Color, and then there was a release of Tetris Plus for both the PlayStation 1 and Sega Saturn. The next Tetris for the Dreamcast or PlayStation 1? PlayStation 1. The next Tetris Online Edition, this came out for the Dreamcast. Tetris Worlds for the PS2. We have the Magical Tetris Challenge, both for the Game Boy Color and Nintendo 64. Tetrisphere for the N64. Tetris, the new Tetris for the N64. Then we have a Game Boy Advance version of Tetris Worlds. Tetris Evolution for the 360. Tetris DS for the DS. And then down here, I think that's a worm over there. Make sure it's not, that's gross. But anyway, we have Tetris Party Deluxe. For the Nintendo 3DS, we have Tetris Access, Tetris Ultimate for the Vita, Tetris Effect for the PS4, Tetris 99 for the Switch, Puyo Puyo Tetris, both for the PS4 and Switch, and we have the Keychain Edition for the Switch, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 for both the PS4, PS5, and Switch, Tetris Effect Connected for the PS4 and Switch, and then we have the Wheel of Fortune games. We have Wheel of Fortune for the Nintendo, Game Boy, Game Gear, Wheel of Fortune Family Edition for the NES, Wheel of Fortune featuring Van White, Wheel of Fortune Junior Edition, Wheel of Fortune for the Super Nintendo and Genesis and Sega CD, Wheel of Fortune Deluxe Edition for the Super Nintendo, And then we have the Wheel of Fortune game for the Gamecom. I am missing the second edition for the Gamecom. It was called Wheel of Fortune 2. And that is a pretty expensive game to find. It's roughly $500 or more. Wheel of Fortune, both versions for the PS1. We have the regular and then second edition versions of that game. And then down here, Wheel of Fortune for the PS2, Wheel of Fortune for the 64, Wheel of Fortune for the DS, PS3, 360, Wii. Then there's a Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune double pack for the Wii, Wheel of Fortune for the Wii U, and then the double pack for the PS4 and Xbox One and Switch. America's Greatest Game Shows, Wheel of Fortune, and Jeopardy. So those are those. Now, up here we have the Game Boy systems. We have the Game Boy Color. We have the Game Boy Advance. And the Nintendo 3DS. I am missing a Nintendo DS. I have to pick one of those up. I don't know why I don't have one. I should. Now these are the games I had as a kid, with the exception of, and I'll go over the ones that are exceptions, but pretty much all of these I had growing up, and I'm still missing a few. Again, a couple Jeopardy games, like I mentioned, but so 4-in-1 Fun Pack. This was basically 4 games in one. You had chess, checkers, backgammon, and Othello, but they called it Reversi. Adventures of Star Saver. This is an expensive find, complete, well north of $400 complete. Spider-Man, Alleyway. These 4 I did not have, but because I am collecting compilation games, these I have. Asteroids, Missile Command, Centipede, Millipede, Galaga, Galaxian, and Defender and Joust. Avenging Spirit, another game by Jalico, very expensive game, north of $800 complete. Baseball, Blades of Steel, Boxel, Bugs Bunny, Crazy Castle, Daedalian Opus, puzzle game, Double Dragon, Double Dribble, Dr. Franken, another expensive game. Faceball, Fist of the North Star, Flipple, Foreman for Real, Big Hurt Baseball, Godzilla, Great Greed. This is another expensive RPG. Jurassic Park, Lock and Chase, Micro Machines, NBA All-Star Challenge, both NBA Jams, Operation C, which was basically the Game Boy version of Contra, Pac-Man, Penguin Wars, Pinball Fantasies, Play Action Football, Pyramids of Ra, Quicks, Revenge of the Gator, Roger Clemens MVP Baseball. I played the hell out of this as a kid. Solar Striker, Street Fighter 2, Top Rank Tennis. Now, I never had this as a kid. I said this in one of the videos before, way back. But this game pissed me off. Every time I would go into Woolworths, which was like a Bradley's, which both are gone now, but think of a Walmart, but Woolworths was like the first Walmart or whatever. In the video game section, this game would stare back at me every time I would go in there. And I hated the guy on the cover, just hated looking at him. And then the game dropped in price, and I almost bought it as a kid because it was $20 just a half, you know, when it was $20 brand new, but I just never got around to it. So I picked this up because, again, this game pissed me off just looking at it. Fall of the Foot Clan, Tiny Toon Adventures, Wacky Sports, another expensive game, complete. T2, the arcade game, Tennis, Tecmo Bowl, Super RC Pro-Am, F1 Race with the 4-player adapter inside, Game Genie for the Game Boy. Let's grab the chair. We have the Super Mario Land 1 and 2. Sumo Fighter, this is probably my most expensive game. This is well north of $1,200 complete. Ultima, Ruins of Virtue, Wave Race, and a sealed cleaning kit. We have a couple of sealed Game Boy Advance games here. We have the Midway Classic Arcade Hits, Pac-Man Special Color Edition, Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. These are Game Boy Color games, excuse me. Then we go to the Game Boy Advance games. We have Activision Anthology, Atari Anniversary Advance. This is a sealed Capcom Classics Mini-Mix, a sealed Centipede Breakout and Warlords, Gauntlet and Rampart, Arcade Advance, Konami Collectors Series. Marble Madness and Clax. You can see these titles. Sega Smash Pack, that's sealed. Sega Arcade Gallery, these are pretty. Sega Arcade Gallery specifically is pretty expensive. And then we go into the DS games. We have the Atari games, we have Band Hero, we have the Brain games, we have Clubhouse games, the Guitar Hero games, sealed, one of them is. And Television Lives, we got more arcade classics, Mega Man's, Rhythm Heaven, Game Boy. This is a charger, as you can see. And then down here we have the 3DS games, and then we have some Dreamcast. We have Atari Anniversary, Midway's Greatest Hits, Sega Smash Pack, 2 Game Gear games, both very uncommon, very rare to find complete. 5-in-1 game pack, or fun pack, and they added a game called Yacht to the 4-in-1 fun pack that they put out on the Game Boy. So it's the same game, just with Yacht. And then we have Arcade Classics for the Game Gear. For the Genesis, we have the 6-pack Arcade Classics, Triple Score 3 games in 1, Arcade's Greatest Hits. Super Nintendo, we have Super Mario All-Stars and Arcade's Greatest Hits. And then for the N64, we have Namco Museum 64, Midway's Greatest Arcade Hits. For the Saturn, we have the 3 free games that came with the Saturn as a bundle pack, but this is the standalone version. Arcade Greatest Hits, the Atari Collection 1, Midway's Greatest Hits, Street Fighter Collection, and then we have our Switch collection here. We have Atari 50, Big Brain Academy, Capcom Fighting, Castlevania, Clubhouse, Collection of Mana, the Disney games, The House of the Dead, Mega Man collections, Immortal, Phoenix Rising, Namco Museum, The World Ends With You, Pac-Man, Penguin Wars, Sega Genesis Classics. And then down here, we have more Switch games. We have Street Fighter 30th Anniversary, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, Taito Milestones, the Ninja Turtles, PSP games, both Capcom Classic Collections, the Atari Classics Evolved, Activision Hits, EA Replay, King of Fighters, Metal Slug, Midway Arcade Treasures. We have Napoleon Dynamite, Power Stone Collection, and then we have a PS Vita game called Atari Flashbacks that Limited Run put out. Now we have our Crash Bandicoot collection. We have every Crash game that ever came out. The first 3 for the PS1, Crash Team Racing, Crash Bash, the collector's edition version of the first 3. We have some little miniature goodies that came out along the way with pre-orders from GameStop. We have, I'm going to sit up for this for you guys here, Wrath of Cortex. We have the Big Adventure and Entrance. These are the 2 Game Boy Adventure games, Game Boy Advance Adventure games. We have the Crash and Spyro Super Pack, Crash Nitro Kart for the PS2 and Game Boy Advance. We have another Super Pack, N-Gage Crash Nitro Kart for the Nokia N-Gage. This is sealed. Crash Bandicoot Purple, Ripto's Rampage. Crash went into Spyro's world and Spyro went into Crash's world. Crash Twinsanity, Crash Tag Team Racing, both for the PS2 and PSP. Crash Boom Bang, and then the PlayStation 2 Action Pack with all the Crash games in there. And then down here, let's move this chair back. We have Crash of the Titans for both the PS2, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, and PSP, and Wii. And then we have Crash Mind Over Mutant for the DS, PSP, PS2, and PS. Well, that's interesting. I have 2 copies of the same game. What are the odds of that? Is one sealed and one's not? Let's take a look. Sell one of these. Yeah, I don't know which one's better. I'll just pick this one. It's interesting. This goes away. We have Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time for both the Switch and the PS4 versions back where my setup is. We have the Crash Bandicoot Trilogy remake for the PS4, Crash Nitro Fueled, and the Game & Sock bundle. for both the Switch and PS4. The N. Sane Trilogy for the Switch, Crash Team Racing, and then the Crash Bandicoot N. Sane Trilogy with an N. Sane controller. And then we have little goodies in this case right here. Alright, and with some Crash Bandicoot 4 pins, as you see. Alright, now, up here we have the Sonic little, I don't know what you would call that, picture frame. Some cereal from Funko, a 2-pack of Super Tails and Super Silver, Sonic Mania Collector's Edition, Sonic the Hedgehog game called Crash Course. We have the nitro-fueled little miniatures from Funko. We have some little goodies here, some tubs. We have number 1, Crash Bandicoot, number 2, Dr. Neo Cortex. We have 3 Coco and 4 Dr. N. Gin. We have the Totaku figurines and the 2 Fig Pins. There are only 2 that came out for the series. And then these are little games that came in the McDonald's Happy Meals. So we have 4 of those, and then the Tiger Electronics Crash Bandicoot game as well. Now, let's get this chair, and let's sit down again. Because now we're getting into the Pops. So we have the Pops here, GameStop exclusive, the Funko sodas, some Pops, as you can see, the Hot Topic exclusives, and GameStop Flock, and Chase, and Toys R Us. This here is the same game as this, but these are the 2 different versions. So you have the, well actually, I lied. This game allowed you to hook up to another game of the same for head-to-head action. This did not. This was just a standalone. But the game itself is the same. So it's the same exact game on both games. It's just this one gave you a head-to-head version of the game. So let's put that back up here. Let's put this over here. And then we have, I'm going to get down here, show you some more Pops. We have all of the Crash Bandicoot Pops that ever came out. Here we go. So, you can see them. And then down here, the Crash Bandicoot Skylanders Imaginators sealed. So we have that. We also have some cobwebs, as you can maybe see. Alright. So now, we go up here. This is a Sonic the Hedgehog Tiger Electronics wristwatch game. We have the Sonic Sega Pico games, the Sonic the Hedgehog's Game World and Tales and the Music Maker. We have another Tiger Electronics Sonic Pocket Arcade game called Amazing Sonic. So there's that. Sealed, obviously. And here's our Sonic collection. We have all the Sonic Pops, or excuse me, all the Sonic Fig Pins. So we have Sonic 581, Sonic 582 Target exclusive, Tails 583, and Knuckles 584. We have 2 more Tiger Pocket games, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Sonic 3D Blast. And then we have the games. We have Sonic for the Genesis, Game Gear, Sonic 2 for Game Gear, Sonic 2 for Genesis, Sonic CD, Sonic Spinball for the Genesis, Sonic Chaos for the Game Gear, Sonic 3 for the Genesis, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. I am missing this for the Game Gear. Sonic Spinball sealed for the Game Gear, Sonic and Knuckles for the Genesis, Sonic Triple Trouble, Knuckles Chaotix, Sonic Drift 2, Sonic Labyrinth. These 2 and Tails Adventure are the 3 rarest games for the Game Gear, and they're expensive. 500 each easily. Sonic Blast, Sonic 3D Blast for the Genesis, for the Saturn. Then we have Sonic R, Sonic Jam, and Sonic Jam for the Gamecom system. Sonic Classics for the Genesis. For the Neo Geo Pocket Color, we have Sonic the Hedgehog Pocket Adventure. And then we have Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast, which I think is input upside down, and it is. Let's fix that. And then another very rare title for the Dreamcast, we have Sonic Adventure, the limited edition. Very rare. Easily $1,000 game. Let's move this Sonic up here. Sonic Shuffle for the Dreamcast, Sonic Adventure 2 for the Dreamcast. Now, over here, we have the Sonic 2-pack, Sonic and Tails, Metal Sonic and Dr. Eggman. We have the Sonic the Hedgehog card game. We have a Sonic Anniversary pack. The Game Boy Advance games, we have Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis, Sonic Advance, Sonic Advance 2. For the GameCube, we have Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut, Sonic Mega Collection Plus for the PS2, Sonic Pinball Party for the Game Boy Advance, Sonic Adventure and Sonic Pinball Party Double Pack for the Game Boy Advance, Sonic Battle for the Game Boy Advance. We've sealed for the N-Gage, we have, and this is upside down, we have Sonic N, as you can see, Sonic N for the N-Gage. See if I can get that back in here. We have Sonic for the GameCube, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, Sonic Heroes, Sonic Advance 3, Sonic Gems Collection for the GameCube, Sonic Rush, Shadow the Hedgehog for the PS2, Sonic Riders for both the PS2 and PSP, Sonic the Hedgehog, they call it Sonic 2008 for the PS3, Sonic the Seven Rings. I have two versions of this. Let's see why. Let's see why. No, there's a reason. Let's see. I think one's a Target exclusive, if I'm not mistaken. We have the regular version, and then we have the, yeah, this is the Target exclusive. Includes an interactive Sonic and the Secret Rings comic book DVD from Archie Comics, so that's why. So let's put this back in. We have Sonic Rush Adventure for the Nintendo DS, Sonic Rivals 2 for the PSP, and here's another rare double pack for the PSP. This is another couple $100 game. Sonic Rivals 1 and 2 on the PSP. Sonic Ultimate Genesis Collection, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, Sonic Riders Zero Gravity for both the PS2 and Wii, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games for the DS, Sonic Chronicles The Dark Brotherhood, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic the Black Knight, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games, Mario and Sonic for both the Wii and DS, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing for both the PS3 and Xbox 360, and the reason we have the 360 version is Banjo and Kazooie is part of it. Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing for the DS. Sonic Classic Collection for the DS. Then we have some Tiger Electronic games. We have the original Sonic the Hedgehog, as you can see. Apparently this was Warren's game. I didn't see that when I bought it. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. We have Sonic Spinball from Tiger. Sonic 3D Blast. There were two versions of this. One I've already shown you, the Pocket version. Then there's this version. And then we have Sonic R, Sonic Racing, as well. Down here, we have Game Boy Advance Video Sonic X, Volume 1. I am missing the second one. We have the Totako figures. There are only 3 of them. We have Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails. Then we have Sonic Free Riders for the 360, which was a Kinect game. Sonic Colors for both the Wii and the DS. And then we have Sonic Colors Ultimate, which is the re-release version, collector's editions for the PS4 and Switch. We have Sonic Generations for the 3DS. We have Mario and Sonic London 2012 Olympic Games for both the Wii and 3DS, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed for the PS3 and Wii U and 3DS, and There are two versions for the 3DS. Why? And it looks like there are two versions for the Vita. So we have Transformed, and then we have the bonus edition. I don't know if you guys can see that with my glasses, but the bonus edition and then the regular edition. And I believe it's the same thing, yeah, for the Vita. We have the bonus edition as well. So there's two versions of each game. Then we have Sonic Lost World for the 3DS and Wii U. And again, there's another version. We have the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games Sochi 2014 Collector's Edition for the Wii, which I believe has a Wii remote in there. We have Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games for the Wii U. Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric for both the Wii U and 3DS. Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games for the 3DS and Wii U. And then we have Sonic Boom Fire and Ice, both the regular and Collector's Edition versions for the 3DS. We have a remake of Sonic Forces for the PS4, which also has the bonus edition. Sonic Forces for the Switch, Sonic Mania Plus for the PS4, Team Sonic Racing for both PS4 and Switch. We have the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. We have Sonic Mania and Team Sonic Racing Double Pack, Sonic Forces and Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz Double Pack, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. This is for the Switch. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. We have more McDonald's Happy Meal toys. There are 5 of them. I don't know if this came on camera, but I'm going to redo it so I'll make sure that it does. We have the hockey game. We have a Sonic Underground from Tiger Electronics. There's a ball that rolls around in here. And then one of the rarest Sonic games to find from Tiger was this clamshell game. Just like the NFL Blitz version, this was the Sonic Adventure clamshell game, which came with full motion video and a ton of levels and a whole bunch of stuff. It was like a pocket-sized version of a AAA title to an extent. I'm not going to get carried away with that description. Alright, so let's move the chair. Let's go down to the bottom 2 shelves. Here we go. We have another Sonic Pop, 6 and 8. These are the rarest of the Sonic Pops. Here's some more Sonic Pops right here. Sega Superstars Tennis, Sega Superstars Tennis for the DS, Sonic Frontiers, the newest release for PS4, Switch, and PS5. We have more McDonald's Happy Meal toys. There are 4 of these, or 5 of these, I should say, in all. I don't know how well they're coming through the plastic in my camera, but we're doing the best we can. And then down here, I don't know if we're going to get them. I'm going to try to do this sideways because I'm at an angle, but hopefully you can see these pops. Maybe not. Do the best we could. There's another worm. Living in the mountains sometimes sucks. Alright, we have more Sonic stuff. We have Pixel frames. Okay. Spyro now. We have Spyro Pop number 528 Giant Spyro. We have this Dragon limited edition, it looks like. We have the PS3 Spyro Skylanders sealed Spyro's Adventure game. And then here we have more Sonic Pops. We have Sonic Pops right over here. I am missing a couple. I'm missing Tails, number 7. I'm missing one of these. It's $1,000. That's why I haven't bought it yet. We have a re-released Sonic the Hedgehog 3 Tiger game. And then we have Sonic the Hedgehog tubs. We have number 1, Sonic the Hedgehog. We have number 2, Dr. Eggman. Number 3, Miles Tails Prower. Number 4, Knuckles the Echidna. Number 5, Super Sonic. Number 6, Shadow the Hedgehog. And number 7, Amy Rose. We have Spyro stuff. We have a Wacky Wobbler. I am missing a couple of Sonic Wacky Wobblers. There's Tails. We have Spyro stuff here, some coasters, a little plush toy, some candles. And then we have the first 3 Spyro games along with the collector's edition for the PS1. We have Spyro Season of Ice for the Game Boy Advance. And then we'll get down and we'll show you these. We have Spyro Season of Flame, a Fig Pin, the only one that was released for Spyro. Then we have Enter the Dragon. We have Attack of the Rhinox for the Game Boy Advance. Spyro Orange. This is him in Crash's universe. Hero's Tale. Spyro Shadow Legacy. A New Beginning for the PS2, DS, and Game Boy Advance. The Eternal Night, again for the same 3 systems, and the Wii. Dawn of the Dragon for the PS2 and PS3 and DS. We have Skylanders Spyro's Adventure by itself, Spyro Reignited Trilogy for both PS4 and Switch. And Spyro also had McDonald's Happy Meal toys as well. There were 4 of them. So here's what they are. Crash and Spyro together on this one. Then we have Spyro tubs. So number 1, Spyro, number 2, Ripto, number 3, Allura, number 4, Moneybags. And then we have more Spyro Pops down here. And that and more cobwebs. And now, to the main event. We have my Mortal Kombat collection, and for those of you who follow me regularly, Mortal Kombat is my favorite game series of all time. So we have the Mortal Kombat movie poster. We have a sealed Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 vinyl record, music from the game. This is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I love Mortal Kombat 2 is my favorite of all time. Then we have Mortal Kombat Collector's Edition. This is Mortal Kombat 9. This is sealed. We have Mortal Kombat X for the PS4. This is sealed. Then Mortal Kombat 11 Collector's Edition. And then these are all of the McFarlane toy releases. So we've got every one of them. Baraka, Horkata, Baraka, Tarkat and the Beefcake, Johnny Cage Hollywood Hunk, Cabal, 2 versions of him, 3 versions of him. We have Katana, Edenian Blue, both the regular version and the Platinum Edition. Kotal Khan, 2 versions of him. Liu Kang, 2 versions of him. Nightwolf, Noob Saibot, the Platinum Edition as well. And then we go down here. Noob Saibot again. Raiden, Merciless Guardian, Raiden White Hot Fury, Scorpion, 2 versions there, another there, and then Shao Kahn, 2 versions of him. Spawn. Spawn, I think, has the most releases. So, obviously, we have the arcade 1-up, Mortal Kombat arcade. This is a Rock'em Sock'em Robot between Raiden and Goro, I should say. We have the Mortal Kombat Test Your Might, or let me rephrase, the Mortal Kombat 1 TV game where you just hooked it up into your AV ports, or your red, white, and blue ports, or yellow and white ports, I should say. This is an MK11 duffel bag. This is an MK11 Hourglass, Chronicas Hourglass, that was only given out to people who were at E3 in 2019. You can see the date, if I can move this. Oh, geez, I don't want to break anything, but January 17th, 2019. Mortal Kombat hat, lunch pail, and then this is every Mortal Kombat game ever, and every DVD, CD, novel. So here we have the novelization of the movie Mortal Kombat by Jeff Rovin. Animated video. the Sega Master System MK1. I am missing the Master System versions of 2 and 3. MK1 for the Genesis, Super Nintendo, Game Boy, Game Gear, Sega CD. Then a couple of people created something called Mortal Kombat Arcade Edition, where they literally redid everything. So there's a lot of hacking to add new GFX details, polishments, timing improvements, sound samples. Master Lin Kuei did all this stuff with the help from Billy Time Games. All the bio and ending screens are redone. There were 2 absent ending screens from Kano. Every graphic made by Probe Software was completely changed or improved. New animations for the Courtyard, Monks and Shang Tsung, Palace Gates, the Flame, Warrior Shrine, the Flame during the Ermac fight, and Throne Room, Shang Tsung's head and his clapping. And then there were 80 sound samples from the arcade as well. And then there's a save feature in the cartridge to save the winning streak name list. There were delays are removed, timings improved, and you can choose between the original music or a more accurate version. So that's pretty cool. Then we have MK2 for the Genesis, Super Nintendo, Game Boy, Game Gear, 32X, and Saturn. This is a double pack, which I never knew existed, and I originally had the PAL version of this. I only thought it was released in Europe, but it turns out it was released here in the United States, and I bought the United States version, so I'm trying to sell the PAL version. Mortal Kombat, the movie, both on VHS and DVD, the novelization of the movie, of the Annihilation movie. No, maybe it is the first movie. Then we have Mortal Kombat 3 for the Genesis, the Super Nintendo, the Game Boy, and the Game Gear. Now, this was only released in Europe. I know that for a fact. So this is the Mortal Kombat 3. It did not get released here in the United States, and the reason for that is the Game Gear was getting destroyed by Nintendo's Game Boy, and here in the US, and there was no point, they thought, in releasing it. It probably would not sell. And it's a good thing they didn't, because it is terrible. Terrible. We have the long box version of MK3, excuse me, for the PS1. I am missing the jewel case version. The jewel case version is the rare version of this, and it is almost $1,000 to buy. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 for the Super Nintendo, the Genesis, the Saturn. We have Mortal Kombat Trilogy for the PS1 and the Saturn and the N64 and the Gamecom. Mortal Kombat Annihilation, both the VHS and DVD, and novelization. We have the soundtrack. We have, well, it's coming. We have Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero for the PS1 and N64. We have Mortal Kombat 4 for the PS1 and N64 and Game Boy Color. Mortal Kombat Gold for the Dreamcast. This is called Mortal Kombat Conquest. This was a TV series that came out in 1998. I've seen every episode. It was pretty good. So there's that. See if you guys can see this here. Make sure. Then we have Mortal Kombat Special Forces for the PS1. We have Deadly Alliance for both the PS2 and Game Boy Advance. We also have Mortal Kombat Advance for the Game Boy Advance. We have Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition. This is sealed for the Game Boy Advance. Deception for both the PS2. Then we have the PS2 version, which was the premium pack. And then for the Xbox, Deception came out with 4 different versions. Baraka, 4 different slipcovers, I should say. Baraka, Melina, and later games, those two have a relationship. Raiden, and Scorpion. There they are. We have Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks for the PS2, Mortal Kombat Armageddon for the PS2. In the PS2 versions, again, there are different cover art. We have the original game, and then we have 3 premium packs. We have the Kano and Sonya. We have the Johnny Cage and Goro. And then we have the Shao Kahn and Sindel. We have Mortal Kombat Armageddon for the Wii, Mortal Kombat Unchained for the PSP, and sealed, we have the Mortal Kombat Collection, which is all three of those games, Shaolin Monks, Armageddon, and Deception, all in one pack. We have Mortal Kombat, Ultimate Mortal Kombat for the DS. We have the Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe Collector's Edition, as well as the regular version, and the Silver Pack for the 360. The Combo Pack, they call it the Silver Pack because of the shield, but it also came with the Mortal Kombat movie inside, the first Mortal Kombat movie. So there's that. And then the last game in this row is the DC Universe Platinum Edition, Platinum Hits Edition. So let's put that back in. Okay. Over here we have Mortal Kombat Legacy and Mortal Kombat Legacy 2. These were little video vignettes that was created by a guy named Kevin Taknerin. I'm probably botching his name. And he was in talks to direct the newest Mortal Kombat movie years and years and years ago, but he ended up dropping out. He almost got sued by Warner Brothers and Ed Boon because he created a video trailer for Mortal Kombat, his reimagining of it, and he didn't have permission. But they loved it so much they hired him to do these things. And we have Mortal Kombat 9, the complete edition. We have Mortal Kombat for the PS Vita. Mortal Kombat X. This is out of order. It should be here. Good thing I'm going through this. Okay, we have Mortal Kombat XL. Mortal Kombat X Limited Edition should be here. And then we have Mortal Kombat 11 for the Switch. Mortal Kombat 11 Premium Edition. Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath Collection. Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, both for the PS4 and the PS5. And then we have Mortal Kombat Legends DVDs. We have Scorpion's Revenge. We have the Mortal Kombat movie. Mortal Kombat Battle of the Realms. And the latest edition, Snowblind. We have the motion picture soundtrack. We have the Mortal Kombat 1 soundtrack from the game. We have the 2 Fig Pins, Scorpion and Sub-Zero. We have the 3 Pixel Pals, Scorpion, Raiden, and Sub-Zero. We have some Pops, as you can see. We have a Pog Slammer. It's the Trophy Edition. And we have the Tiger Electronic games. We have Mortal Kombat. We have the Mortal Kombat barcodes, and these are the barcodes. We have all of them in protective sleeves, as you can see. We have Mortal Kombat 3 from Tiger. We have Mortal Kombat Trilogy from Tiger, and the only Mortal Kombat game I'm missing is the Mythology Sub-Zero Tiger game. I have everyone else. We have a candle. We have more Pops, as you can see. Some little knickknacks. This was a pre-order bonus at GameStop. Try not to sneeze. This is a Mortal Kombat Deception commemorative coin, exclusive at GameStop. We have sealed trading cards from the 90s, both the Skybox and classic versions of cards. Here's another Pop. Let me get the chair here. Try to get that sound out of there. Apologize for all of you. Okay, more Pops. I'm missing one of the Wacky Wobblers. This is a Mortal Kombat Classic goodie box. This is another version of Mortal Kombat 1, but it's in the handheld little mini arcade style. And then we have the rest of the McFarlane toys, McFarlane figurines. So we have Spawn, Blood Feud Hunter, Spawn, Malefic Spawn, and the gold label Spawn. This is the Mortal Kombat 11 Collector's Edition Commando Spawn. Shadow of Spawn, Sub-Zero Frozen Over, Sub-Zero, Sub-Zero. Down here we have another Sub-Zero. I don't know if you can see that. And then we have the Jokers. We have the Batman Who Laughs, which is another Joker. The 2-pack of Scorpion and Raiden, and the 2-pack of Sub-Zero and Shao Kahn. Up here, we have some Mortal Kombat posters in the background. This came out of Nintendo Power. It says Mortal Kombat Competition Edition. This was the Super Nintendo. It's what the Super Nintendo game was called, Competition Edition. I don't know if we can actually see it up here. Yeah, as you can see, they wanted to do something fancy with this because this game had no blood in it. And that was the big thing. That's what propelled Sega to almost beat Nintendo, was when Mortal Kombat released and it was only blood on Sega. So, Mortal Kombat 4 little poster, Mortal Kombat Deception advertisement, another Mortal Kombat, or Deadly Alliance, excuse me, advertisement. We have a Mortal Kombat 3 Tiger R-Zone complete. We have a Giga Fighter Mortal Kombat game. We have, these are miscellaneous Tiger games, X-Men, Spider-Man, Little Mermaid. These are the re-releases. We have some strategy guides. Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition for the PS3, and it comes with an arcade stick. And then I think we have all of these now. We have the Mortal Kombat Funko Mortal Kombat X figures. So, we have Kitana, Liu Kang, Raiden, Scorpion, Sub-Zeros, and then miscellaneous, I don't know if you can see these, I'll pull them out. Guitar Hero arcade game, I forget who makes this, BFI, whoever they are, but we have Guitar Hero. We have Guitar Hero 2nd Edition, and again these are sealed obviously. And then we have Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. Pretty cool. And then finally, we have our Dark Crystal and Labyrinth wall, her bookshelf. So we have the 30th anniversary edition of Labyrinth. We have a Labyrinth video game that came out for the Famicom, only in Japan. We have the Labyrinth sealed board game. We have Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Tactics. And here's the Switch version. This is the PS4 Collector's Edition from Limited Run Games. We have a 2-pack of Dark Crystal Pop. We have Gen number 339. We have some Dark Crystal Pop Pezzes. We have a Labyrinth McFarlane toy, Jareth toy. Dark Crystal Think Inc. goodie box. We have the Dark Crystal Bestiary art book, the Dark Crystal DVD. And then we have some Dark Crystal Pops. I am missing a few. And then down here, and this will be the last thing you guys see, last thing that is in the game room, is some Dark Crystal Pops down here. We have some Labyrinth books, the Ultimate Visual History. We have artist tributes. We have little stories that took place after. And then down here we have an unofficial sequel to Labyrinth. We have an art book, first of all, Goblins of Labyrinth. We have Coronation, which is a sequel. And then Return to Labyrinth, which is actually, Coronation is the prequel. It's how Jareth becomes who he is. The Bestiary, the art book. And then a 4-pack of manga called Return to Labyrinth. And this takes place, I think Toby is an adult, and Jareth is trying to steal him again as an adult. So I haven't read these yet. I need to. And then down here we have the Pop Labyrinths. We have the Big Ludo and the Hoggle, Jareth, 3 Jareths, and a Sarah and the Worm, which this one I think was the most expensive, Sarah and the Worm, to buy. So, folks, thank you for watching. I did the best I could with these glasses. I hope it comes out pretty decently. Any comments would be greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching. It's been a long time coming. I wanted to do this for you guys. I've been promising for over a year, maybe even 2, and it's finally done. So, tell everyone you know. If you know somebody who loves video games, if you know somebody who loves nostalgia, if you know somebody who likes ASMR style stuff, soft-spoken stuff, you know someone who loves NFL Blitz, whatever it may be, send them to the channel, let them check out this video, and I appreciate every one of you again. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next video. Bye.